Welcome to Quilting on the Side, the podcast where we uncover the secrets to turning your passion for quilting into a profitable side hustle.
I'm Tori from the Quilt Patch by Tori.
And I'm Andi from True Blue Quilts. And together, we're your co-hosts on this exciting journey of creativity, entrepreneurship, and all things quilting.
We're here to help you navigate the world of quilt pattern design, course creation, digital marketing, and running an online quilt business. We've been through the ups and downs ourselves, so we know what it takes to make money from your favorite hobby.
That's right, Tori. We're going to share our experiences on how we've grown our businesses while balancing family with other paying work responsibilities. It's not always easy, but it's definitely possible. Welcome back to Quilting on the Side. And if you have just joined us for the first time, I want to say welcome. And you are in the right place to learn about turning your favorite hobby into a business and getting a little of that side hustle revenue. Tori and I are excited to talk to you today about professional development. Now, it can take some extra effort to set aside the time to learn new things, and you feel like it's not moving the needle forward very much because, you have to spend that time that you could be creating things in your business or working on different offers and projects, but it really is important to fill your own cup. That whole idea of you can't help someone else until you have your own oxygen mask on is definitely true when it comes to business growth and learning. And we want to take this opportunity to share some of our thoughts on how we set aside time for professional development and why it is so important. One of the biggest benefits I see to professional development and learning about business principles in general, rather than anything specific to your craft, is that it puts you in a beginner mindset. And we all have that aspect in our business of how we want to reach new people, just those folks initially starting out, whether it's with quilting or knitting, crochet, any of the other crafts that people may be involved in. You want to entice those beginners because it's easy to build that brand loyalty if you are the first person that they encounter. And going for a course in something you're not as skilled at definitely helps you see, how can I reach out to those beginners in the best way and give them the best experience? Anytime that we are students, we have a dual purpose. We're learning the new thing that we signed up for, but we're also studying how the class is offered, how the instructor reaches out to us and sets the stage for learning. You can kind of take that meta outlook and analyze the experience along with gaining those new bits of knowledge that you were attracted to in the first place. So we mention reflection all the time. Take some time after you have done a course to reflect on the whole experience from the student viewpoint, from a business owner viewpoint. Any lessons you can gather, get those written down so that you can implement them in your own journey as well. Now, the biggest reason to pursue professional development would be, of course, to grow in areas that may be your weaknesses. So again, that reflection is so important to identify those gaps where you need to improve. Do I need to learn how to do Facebook and Instagram ads? Do I need to learn a better video setup so that my tutorials come across in the best way possible? Do I need to brush up on some specific sewing skills to make my sample quilts better? If I want to start incorporating curves, then I need to take some curves classes because that is a skill that I am not very proficient at. The other aspect of professional development is building on your strengths. When things are easy and natural and that's our core offer, we may think that, since we're, quote, the expert in that area, we don't need any further lessons. But sometimes getting the perspective of someone else who also has that area as a strength is going to sharpen those skills even more. And it's really interesting to see how different people approach the same topic. So since I have really gone deep into my love of half rectangle triangles, I'm going to take classes from other people that also use HRTs in their designs and see what perspective I can get from someone else's viewpoint. So using professional development as an opportunity to build on your strengths and improve your weak areas is going to be really, really important. So where do you find these professional development opportunities? There are quite a few online courses out there, and Tori and I met in an online course, so we definitely see that as a great area to explore. Definitely talk to people. If it is a course that's been around for 2 or 3 launches, then there are going to be some alumni you can talk to, and take advantage of that. Talk to several people, see what their favorite things were about the instructor, get as much information as you can about the pace of the course to see if it is something that you can follow up on, and how long the course is offered, what is the support for alumni, how, just get those testimonials from a variety of sources to make your final decision. Obviously, price point is going to be a concern. And that is why it is so important to put a portion of your annual budget aside for these professional development opportunities. Many of these educational opportunities can run $1,000 or more. And you have to be able to weigh that with your return on investment. Is this a course that is just a couple days and they promise that you'll have a way to recoup that money very quickly? Then it might be a no-brainer. But if it's something significant, if you may need some time to budget for it to save up the money, and you want to know the time frames of the course, when the enrollment opens. Some popular teachers only offer their course a couple times a year. Others drip it out in online content that is available forever, evergreen offers. So that's really good. And I find it helps to have an accountability partner for some of these long-term classes, that someone I can just check in with. We can bounce ideas off each other and keep each other on track, because there's no worse feeling than shelling out a lot of money for a course and never finishing it. I have definitely spent the tuition for an MBA in the money that I have spent on online courses, with varying degrees of success, obviously. But it also helps to do your professional development, pick teachers who are not in the craft area. Online business is a huge topic, and there are many, many teachers out there who can give you some core principles, and then you need to do the work to apply them to the quilting, knitting, whatever craft space we're in, whether you offer watercolor classes or anything else. I know most of our audience is in the fabric world, so that's why we use quilting, obviously, as our biggest metaphor. But a lot of these principles can apply across the board in a lot of different industries. If you find a successful online business coach, then their core principles should translate. So I would definitely recommend looking at some of the big names that have had success in the online world, even if they're not directly in the craft space. And definitely leave a comment. Check us out through our Instagram page or our Facebook page. If you want some specific recommendations, we can talk about it there. And I'd also invite you to join our Patreon community. This is a more private space where we have some more open conversations and can directly answer your questions. In fact, that is one of the benefits of the paid membership in Patreon, is that you get an exclusive question and answer period live on a Zoom call with Tori and I, and we can really dive deep into these conversations about your business growth and some specific ideas that may work for you. So for the price of a Starbucks coffee, $5 a month, you can join our Patreon community, get some one-on-one time with us, and it really helps us continue offering these business lessons here at Quilting on the Side.
Andi, I loved what you said about following your strengths and your weaknesses and looking for professional development that helps both of those, and the dual role we play while we're taking our classes or courses, especially if we're a teacher, looking at how they present the material and what we can take away from it. I would want to add that you don't want to sign up for just any training. You do want to keep the value in mind. There are a lot of free trainings out there that only give you one or two actual actionable items, and you'll get to know them when you watch their free stuff, which could be a great way to be introduced to what they offer. But just keep in mind that you don't have to join everything. And I think that's the main thing I want to talk about, is that there are so many free things, low cost things, and they're all made and designed to help introduce the presenter, the teacher, the expert, so that helps establish their authority with you. And to really take into account, is this person someone that I want to learn from? Is this person going to fit my style of learning? And really think about how many webinars you join, how many classes you're going to take. Like Andi said, we don't want to jump in and then not finish a course that we shelled out $1,000 or more for because we just didn't have the bandwidth because we signed up for too many things. And that's one thing I really want to speak to for how to kind of plan around that so you're not joining too many things. I learned this from, I always forget his name, James Wedmore. So he does planning, and I've heard a couple other entrepreneurs talk about this too. But his the way he explained it kind of helped stick in my brain, and it's like a 90-day project. Rachel Rogers also talked about this, where she looks at her business and picks one thing to improve for every 90 days. So she's not trying to start an email list and improve her blog and restart a podcast and record and edit and launch a course. She's looking at the first 90 days and picking one large project so that she can focus on it and really get it done and do it well. And I think that really includes a course. And so looking at your bandwidth and picking one for every 90 days may be a good way to go. So you do want to make sure you're taking, and the other thing that I love about that is that we see so many industry professionals jump into classes and courses and they may not finish them, or if they do finish them, they jump into another one. And it quickly becomes more of a hobby than a business. They're just learning, and they don't take the time to implement. Now, keeping in mind, if you want to do the 90-day project, gives you the bandwidth to take the course, finish the course, and then take time to implement. And this takes a little bit of planning ahead. So if you want a little bit of help with this, we do quarterly planning, which is the 90-day period. We do quarterly planning every quarter in our membership on Patreon. So if you want to join us there and need a little help or feedback on your 90-day projects, or if you want our feedback on any courses that we've taken, and we're happy to answer questions that we've taken. And you can find us like directly through Patreon. You can email us. But Patreon is where we offer our quarterly plannings now. Again, as Andi stated, it's only $5 for the lowest tier and $15 for our highest tier. So it's really affordable, and we do offer some really great time to meet with us and really get to interact with us. But back to the 90-day project idea, it gives you time to plan ahead, and what I would suggest is note down during the course what you want to implement, and then schedule your time to actually implement what you're learning. Because again, we don't want to jump from course to course to course, improving our strengths, addressing our weaknesses if we don't have time to implement what we are learning. Because then again, it becomes more of a hobby where we're just learning about business and we're not actually implementing and creating that business. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is, do you actually need another class? So one thing I found with marketing, when I was learning marketing, I was jumping into every marketing class I could get my hands on, trying to figure out what this whole marketing thing was. And I realized that implementation piece where I was learning, but I wasn't taking time to stop and implement what I was learning. So my question for you is, do you actually need another class? Or maybe you need that accountability, just like Andi was talking about. Do you need maybe more of a mastermind? And a mastermind, if you've never been a part of a mastermind, it's kind of like an accountability group, but you can also learn off of each other, where you can meet as often as you need. So every mastermind kind of has their own schedule. Typically, the ones I've been a part of have met every 2 weeks or once a month, depending on how busy we are. And we talk about, we approach it with a rose, a bud, and a thorn. So we talk about a win that we had. That's the rose. We talk about a bud. So something that we're working on and what's coming up. And then we talk about a thorn, which is a problem we're having, a challenge we're facing, something we're confused about. And then we ask any questions or ask for any feedback on what we've shared from the members in the group. And typically everyone has something to share, whether it's advice, something they've done, a resource that they can reference you to, and things like that. And creating a mastermind can help with that accountability piece. It can help with professional development, but it's a little more action oriented. So that's why I wanted to bring that in. And if you've never done a mastermind before, you can get a handful of friends together, whether it's 2 or 3 or just one person if you want to, and meet and use that flower, bud, or thorn method, where you're just meeting and getting ideas out there and staying accountable for implementing all the things that you've already learned, or that you are going through these different courses. Even if you're all taking different courses, you can still meet and decide what the pace is going to look like, and create it around what you need, rather than taking just another course and just kicking that can down the road of actually implementing what you're learning. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you would like to hear more from us, you can join our Patreon community for as little as $5 and have a little more content, a little more one-on-ones with us. So I hope you have a great day and do a little quilting on the side.
What a great discussion. If you enjoyed this episode of Quilting on the Side, please leave us a review on whichever platform you're listening. It can be iTunes, Spotify, or even our YouTube channel.
And hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our next chat. Until then, remember to have fun in your business and do a little quilting on the side.